Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm doing my best Timuchin impression. Yeah, he's not here. It's the Wednesday morning show, coffee or tea with American Scouser. I hope everyone's doing well this morning. We had to bring in some actual talent because I was the only one from the Wednesday morning show that could do it today, and obviously I'm the least likely to do a great job. So we brought in some talent from the outside. Serzi, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good, God. How are you?
Good, thank you. Other than being absolutely freezing, you and I are basically, we've got two opposite things
Two
happening.
opposites. Yep.
You guys are burning over there, and it is, I just checked the weather, it is 0 degrees, and it says feels like -20, which I think at 0 degrees, it doesn't really matter what it feels like, it's cold.
Yep. I've been there when I lived in Germany. It's horrible.
Yeah, I've never, I've been to Germany twice, both in the summer, and it was hot. It was like hotter than I expected.
The summers are hot.
It gets pretty cold as well over there?
Oh yeah, I lived there a couple of months during the winter, and it was like snow, but it was clean snow. It's not like London. I mean, I'm not sure if you've been to London, but
Oh, yeah.
when it snows in London, just through the pollution and smog, it's like dirty. But in Germany, it's like a nice snow. Like you can deal with it, and it's a crisp area. It's not like freezing.
That's I'd kill for that right now. Yeah, I decided today I wouldn't. I was supposed to be on the road, and I thought, you know what, it's really cool. I'll stay inside. I'll put the heaters on, and we'll just do it from here. So
Yep.
let's get right into it. So we've got obviously yesterday a big match. You know, it was one that I think kind of snuck up on us. I think just having the weekend of Akron and Stanley and then it being a Tuesday, there wasn't a whole lot of breathing room. And a lot of our midweek games have been, I don't want to say meaningless, but they've been a little less important than the games of the weekend. And so this was kind of a little bit of a shakeup. How did you feel 1-1 yesterday with Nottingham Forest?
I said before the game, if I could be knocked out and someone wake me up after the game and just tell me the result, I'd be happy with that. It's weird that I'm more worried about Nottingham Forest than any other game, and pretty much they've proven why. It's coming away at the point wasn't too bad, given that they're second and obviously they're behind us, and just that being behind as well, just that low block. We just can't play against low blocks, and history has shown us we can't. And so to get that point, it was a good point in the end. Obviously, would have loved to have won the game, and we had chances to win the game, but I'm happy with that. They didn't make ground on us, and they've shown. I think pretty much everyone wrote Nottingham Forest off, but they've shown why they're second. They're just a very, very hard team to break down.
Yeah, and I think that's it's a really good point because it's Nottingham Forest. Not last year. Last year, I wouldn't say they struggled, but they didn't have a great year. The year before that, they definitely struggled. They were teetering on relegation after just coming into the league and kind of ballooning their squad. I think at one point they had like 40-something players. They bought 21 players in the summer after their promotion. It just seemed like they were, just bursting at the seams, and they couldn't figure out a system. They bring in Nuno. I don't know. I think that it's one of those situations where you look at the opposition for their history, and then this kind of makes you mad. But then when you look at the table and how well they've done, I forget who said it in the Discord, but they were just like, obviously anyone that's disappointed with this has not been watching Nottingham Forest this year because they've been a really good side. And obviously, we definitely did have our chances. What is it about coming up against opposition when we're kind of on our game where the goalie just has like the greatest game of their career? I can think of, I could probably fill two hands worth of situations where, I mean, the one that stands out is Real Madrid, Thibaut Courtois against us in the Champions League. I mean, if it was not for him, that would have been 5-1 Liverpool. We would have walked away with our seventh European championship. But there's something about goalies having just wonderful days. I mean, I'm pretty sure Sells made 4 or 5 world-class saves. The one on Jota after he had scored his first one, that point blank, stands out.
That's ridiculous. You're right. And it's like, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah, it's like the goalkeeper. I don't know what it is. Like, they'll play like peak, before, and then game and two later they'll just start playing like they've never, like David James back in the day. Is just don't get it. Is I don't know why we have to be their benchmark to show that what the talent is. Use someone else.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's please God, yeah. It just feels like it's just one of those games that they gear themselves up for, and they received a lot of pressure. I don't think that you can fault us for chances. I don't think you can fault us for playing style, especially in the second half. Nottingham Forest played a phenomenal first half. I would say that if you were to choose like a winner at the end of the first without score, it still was Forest. And in the second half, we really ticked it up. It looked like Forest were absolutely legged. There was one where was it Alanga who had made a run, and it looked like he would have been clean on. In the first half, he probably would have put something on target, and he just his legs just kind of died, and Trent caught up with him. So I think we just wore him down, and we just could not score a goal. And then there was the one that was cleared off the line from Salah, and I just thought it's not going to go in today. It's just not
today. Yeah.
So this tie definitely, I don't want to say divided our Discord, but we have a pretty decently close-knit Discord where we can kind of joke and banter, and we've all got our wild theories and our wild statements made after games, but this one definitely has divided teams. So you're under the impression of what you just said about if you had showed me the result without watching the game, I would have been fine with it. So does this worry you for the rest of the season, or you can stomach this one and move on to Brentford?
In isolation, I can stomach this game, and I see what Aaron's wrote, and I know he's been writing for some time that he thinks we're going to bottle it, but he also thinks Man City are going to catch up, and that's not happening. I had maybe a glimmer yesterday when Man City were winning, and then they lost a 2-0 lead. So I think we can pretty much safely say Man City are out. I just think the last few games, apart from Accrington, the Man United and Tottenham game, don't really inspire me too much confidence. But again, you have to go through this. We still haven't. Forget the Spurs game. That was a nothing game, really. The Man United game, we only drew at the end of it. I mean, we didn't lose, and even though it feels like a loss, and that's how far we've come, and that's how far Man United dropped, where they're so happy with the draw, and we're so disappointed with the draw. It's hard to pinpoint why we're going through this little blip. I know Kazi was saying that the players are tired and they look tired. I don't know. I just think they've come at a bad form all at the same time, at the wrong time. And maybe they just, I think the two Champions League games, they're coming at a good time where we could probably rest a lot of players and just go again come February. But yeah, January notoriously is usually like a make or break month for us. But as long as we just keep matching everyone else around us, I'll take a draw today if Arsenal and Tottenham. Also, I want Tottenham to win, but yeah, as long as we just keep matching the other three teams, we'll be good.
Yeah, I think. Alan says good morning. Good morning, Alan, and Peaches, I'm guessing, is a Forest fan, given his little icon there. So yeah, it's you're gonna love the next couple of minutes because we're gonna wax lyricals about the season that Nottingham Forest are currently having. But yeah, I think when you're looking it's really difficult to look at seasons on their own. There's always that fear, and a lot of us have it too. You and I are one of them. I know Timuchin, if he's watching, he's definitely one of them. Where you just get this feeling about past seasons and past transgressions, and you just start feeling, oh, here we go again. It's hard to see it, with clear eyes. And Nottingham Forest this year are definitely having a great. They're the only team that's beaten us. So to go to their home and get a tie on its own, just with this season in mind, it's a good result. And then Man United, we tie them, and then they go on with 10 men for, what was it? Was it 30 minutes or was it an hour? I can't remember if it was a 30-minute red card or 6 minutes.
I think I set up on a 30 minutes. So yeah.
Oh, and then they went to extra time.
And extra time. Yeah, that's like 90 minutes.
So, and then they, at that point, they go on and beat Arsenal. So that looks like a good result now. And although, like you said, you look at the past 5 seasons and you really want that win against United, but you have to realize that they always get themselves up for that game because that's basically their season. Yeah. This is what they have to look forward to is disrupting our rhythm and disrupting the points that we get. And so it's always a tough game to go there. And so to come out with the tie and then to watch what they did to Arsenal makes me feel a whole lot better. So, I think under that circumstance, you had shared something with us because I think had we beaten Forest and we'd have been 9 points clear with a game in hand. 9 points clear with a game in hand. Oh no, we would have been tied with Arsenal because they played today. You would put up, how many points do you think Liverpool need to win the league? Because I think this is where this result kind of, a lot of people that were already moaning about recent form have started to get really shaky, and it's less about I feel like at the beginning of December everyone's like, let's start the parade now, we'll plan the route today, and now in the middle of January it's like we need more people, the wheels are falling off, and a lot of people are losing their heads. So realistically, what do you think we need? We've collected,
47 points.
47 from 20. So we got 18 to go.
Left. Yeah.
Do we need the same form? Do you think we need the same form going into the second half? Or can we be a little lazier and not collect as many points?
Oh, definitely can't be lazier. Definitely can't be lazier. Just, I don't know what it is. I think definitely we need, like Kazi was saying yesterday, we can't afford to give up the first 20 minutes and start slow. And we kind of reverted back to what we did under Klopp last season when he started the season. He kept going a goal behind and we were just constantly playing catch up. And we've got to do what we started off doing this season, the beginning of the season, and just get tight in the back. That's the biggest thing. It's getting tight in the back. It's, we keep saying it, goals win games, but defense wins titles, and we need to stop conceding. And that's the big. They have to concentrate on defending. I know it's been hard. Konate was out for a while, and they need more protection. You can see Virgil's losing it with players on the pitch. He lost it with Trent and Man United. Lost it with Bosley last night. But yeah, I think the bigger players like Virgil and Salah, they know it's in their grasp. Like it's ours to lose, and and I think that's the painful thing. We're letting silly goals in, and we're not controlling games. I think that's the most frustrating thing. But then we just got to go back to basics how we were when we first started and just take control of the games. I think we're giving too much control and too much possession and respect to our opposition, and we just got to play our own game and don't worry about what our opposition's doing.
Yeah, I think that was a big thought from last night, because I think we quadrupled the amount of passes and possession last night, and I really think that if we think that we are going to go through the rest of the season and teams are not going to show us that low block for 80, 90 minutes, I think we have to find some way to break that down, because that's all we're going to see for the rest of the year. Because even teams that probably could compete with us in terms of like going aggressive and trying to get goals are seeing what a low block can do to us, and they're taking notes and they're going, we'd be fine with a point against Liverpool. Let's just disrupt their season. And yeah, like you had said, like Alan has pointed out, at this point of the season, now it could definitely change. If we start dropping massive points, we can get dragged in, and then it's not ours to lose anymore. It's, we're relying on other results to get us over the line. But at this point in the season, it's definitely ours to lose, and we are our biggest challenger right now. Yeah. With last year, I was one of the ones that beat the drum, and I'll continue to beat the drum over the summer. I think we kind of clouded by the fact, after week 9, we were doing so well. No one had expected us to be where we were with a brand new manager without signing anybody. And we kind of thought, hey, maybe they're onto something. Maybe we don't need anybody. Maybe this is the good way to go. But we've seen it so many times. And most recently last year where, middle of February, beginning of March, everyone's thinking like, we got a shot at a quad again. Like, we can do this. Yeah. This will be the magical fairy tale. Klopp announces he's leaving. We've got this massive momentum. We beat Chelsea with basically children. Like, some of them were still wearing diapers. They had to take the breaks weren't for the heat. It was for the bottles after a couple of minutes. So, and then we thought, this is it. This is the fairy tale season. And the wheels fell off because simply we didn't have the legs. Injuries caught up to us, and we were overusing players. And then when you look at people like Konate, pushes himself back when he sees Gomez going off, and probably pushes himself back too early. I don't think it's any fault of his own. He hasn't looked great, but he hasn't been fit. Kwanzaa picks up a bit of an illness. It seemed like that ravaged through the camp too over the winter break, which it normally does. Like, here we are. We talk about it every year before it happens and after it happens. From December 1st to about January 31st is a very busy, very difficult season. The weather sucks. There's game after game after game after game, and people get tired. And so under that pretense, do you think that we need to strengthen the squad with bodies? Or do you think what we should maintain the same approach of, if it's not somebody that we really want, let's not even bother going after him?
I think the latter. I think just buying for the sake of buying really isn't beneficial to anyone other than just to the peace sound fans. But then if you buy just the body, you're still going to get people like, well, he's not good enough. Why are you buying him? So you can't. There's no win. I think Slot's, from what Slot is saying, it doesn't seem like he wants anyone. So I don't know whether he's being told to play it off like that because we're not going to buy anyone. And I don't think anyone should be surprised us not buying anyone in January. Unless we get a good, decent player that's going to come up for like, the magic 35 million, pound mark. I don't think we're going to buy anyone. I think the difference is last season is that we lost Salah, who went to AFCON, and then he got injured. So we don't have to deal with that this time around. And I think our players themselves are training less intensely compared to when Linda's was in charge. And so I know the usual suspects have got injured, like Jota and Konate, but Konate still played more games this season than last couple of seasons. I think to put together, and again, Gomes is injured. I think these are just like unfortunate injuries that happen. I would love to get a good player that can make a good impact. I'm hoping Kiers is that player, like how Diaz was when Salah and Mane went to AFCON, but I just don't see who we're going to buy. And I don't see a player, world-class player coming into this squad, knowing that they might be on the bench because who they're going to shift out. Because I think McAllister and Gravenberch have pretty much got their positions nailed on. There's no dislodging. There's no dislodging Virgil and there's no dislodging Salah. So now, if you buy another attacker, then we'll have to get rid of Nunes and replace him, or I think the left back position's the only position that's viable where you can get a world class player and it's going to fit in. Unless them players become available, I don't see us buying them. And while the counts Richard Hughes is on vacation, so I don't know.
So yeah, I tend to agree with you. You don't want to buy anybody just for buying's sake, because then you've hurt yourself for everything. Contract negotiation, the money is finite. So when you pull money out of a pot and to buy somebody just to get legs over the line, would you take back certain players? I know there was a lot of talk over last week about recalling certain players. Bajcetic was one of the main ones we were discussing, but there's several others out there that we could bring it back and just say, we're going for a title charge. Certainly, like Bajcetic is not happy since Pep Linders was sacked over there. He hasn't got a whole lot of time. That to me seems like a no-brainer. He's not happy where he's at. Yeah. He's not getting the minutes. We need somebody in the middle to give some rotation. But would that be more your approach? Guys that are already on the books, guys that we're already paying most wages for. Would you recall somebody, or do you think that this is the team that we can get over the line once everybody gets fit?
I think Bajcetic for sure. I'm not sure about anyone else, but I think Bajcetic for sure. But then now we've got another midfielder has to try and find a position. We can't even get Elliott on there. So we got to see what's good. Obviously, good for the player and good for us. Obviously, we've got to put ourselves first. But having Bajcetic back would be ideal if we don't buy anyone else new. And I was just thinking last night, just watching Gravenberch play, he's one of them players he's played well in defense. So, if we don't strengthen the defense and we buy a good quality midfielder, if we've gone for Zubimendi or whatever, he fits into Gravenberch's role and Gravenberch can step back in central defense, we just rotate whenever we need. I think that'd be ideal situation. But yeah, and a part of me thinks that when Slot talks, I think that some of it is just his own pride and ego. He doesn't want any new players. I think he just wants to prove that he can do this without new players.
Yeah,
and that's what's coming across. No, I'm not going to buy my way into it. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to show what I can do with this squad. It's going to be given to me.
Could it be also that he's never had a team as good as this, and he's like, "Why I've done it? Yeah. I've done it with shittier teams. This team right now in front of me is better than any team I've ever managed or coached. So I think I can probably do it with these guys." But it is a learning process. So at the beginning of the year, before a ball was kicked, I think a lot of it. I think a lot of us would have taken top 4. I think that was that. Me personally, that was my only goal. Brand new manager, first time ever in the Premier League. It's definitely a difficult league. I didn't think City would fall off this far. Really felt like this would be the year that Arsenal would put a real big challenge in. And I thought, what, I'll be pleased with. I think the only goal here is, maybe snatch a domestic trophy and get top 4. And then it's kind of changed and evolved. I think, obviously perspectives change, and now it'd be really hurtful if we didn't win anything and got top 4. But is this thing where 5 years from now, if we do last year where we kind of drop the ball on everything and we don't pick up any additional trophies outside of the Carabao Cup, you look back at this in 5 years and go first year, he learned a lot of lessons. He took some hard knocks and, we go again next year. Or do you think that not picking up multiple trophies this year, not challenging until the very end for the title is going to put a blow in the team for next year in terms of challenging?
We have to win the League or Champions League. The other 2 trophies are just by the by, they're just little cherries on the top. If we just won the FA Cup or League Cup and didn't win the main 2, I wouldn't be happy even if we finished in the top 4. I really, and I know I said this on our preseason show, I really thought we were going to win the league. And it's not just being blinded, being a Liverpool fan. Just watching the start in preseason and the way he tried to shore up that defense. I think the players, I don't know, Kaiser says this team's too early to win the league. I disagree. We were in this up until March last year. And then it took one psychological blow against Man United, going out that cup, and the injuries to our key players, where Salah's not going to AFCON. Yeah, he's off form, but he's still one of them players you just know, given any second, who's going to win the game for you. It's, like I said, if this is our blip, it's fine. I'll take it. All we have to do is just equal what everyone else is doing around us. If it was Man City that was second, yeah, I'd right now, yeah, I'd be crapping myself because they've shown they can win all these games, but there's no one else. And I think Arsenal last couple of seasons have taken advantage of the fact that that World Cup season we were really dire. You know, we had to change our midfield completely, and then obviously, you know, last season they took advantage of us having all them injuries, March and you know March and afterwards, and they had no injuries hardly last season. They got lucky with it. So I really don't see how we mess this up. Like you know, and I said, you know, the only people that can mess it up is us for ourselves because there's no one out there that could really catch us up or showing that they can catch us up the way Man City have done. And you know, I don't know what's more surprising, Man City's downfall or City's uprise. It's that there's like two extremes, and you know, it's Man City is showing that what we went through when we didn't strengthen our team, and we just kind of got complacent, and we just let these aging players just age, and we thought we could just rely on them. But Man City need a whole new. They need to change everything. You know, keeper all the way up to midfield.
Yeah, and you should be learning from those mistakes, right? Which right now I feel like we're sort of right on that cusp of getting into that same issue. And the problem is though, it's like it's Mo Salah and Verge that are the aging players looking for new contracts. And at this moment, I think everybody would be happy if both of them re-signed to deals. Now, those guys are also professionals. They also have, you know, their agents, and they're going to want a deal that probably in the long run is bad for Liverpool. They're going to take a lot of money out of the bank, and they're probably going to have, you know, guarantees until they're well past their prime and well past their playing age. And that's the kind of stuff I think that, you know, when you bring in these sharks like we did at the beginning of the year and everyone was super happy about it, these are the tough conversations that are happening behind doors. Because from a business standpoint, you know, especially like I hate talking contracts, but here we go. You know, the one thing that you have to think of with Mo, especially, a Verge is probably maybe a little bit better because I feel like, you know, somebody like Virgil van Dijk can give you, he can go longer into his career being a center back than like a left winger, a right winger. And so Mo is looking at a contract of this is what you owe me because of what I've done. And Liverpool are approaching the contract from, you know, this is for the future. So in the greatest sense, we give you a 3-year extension, and by the time that you finish that, you know, in May of that year when it ticks down, that's when the wheels start falling off of your career. But that's probably not what's going to happen. We're probably going to see one more really decent year for Mo, and then it's going to be less and less and less and less. And obviously, another thing I guess we could talk about is, you know, Mo's recent performance. I just think he's gassed, which is like what happens when you get older. And that's totally fine. From the season that he has given us so far, you can take 2 weeks off, dude. Like you've given us, we would not be in the position we currently are if you hadn't done what you did. Yeah. So in a sense, he's brought us here. But in another sense, like without him, and as his periods of downturn start to increase, because they always will, they're never going to get shorter. It's never going to be like a season where he goes and the blip is less than it was last year. It's always every year you go on, the blips are going to get longer and longer between, you know, sparks of greatness. I think all that factors into contract negotiations. And I mean, I'm sure that we'll see Mo start to light up again, but you know, he had a good chance that was cleared off the line, probably would have gone in 9 out of 10 times if you replay that over. But it doesn't go in. Are you worried or concerned about his performances?
Concerned because he's a match winner, and you know, and it's pretty. It kind of like it simulates what we used to do with Coutinho, where when he was on the field, we just keep wanting, you know, we just want to give the ball to Coutinho, and because you knew you're going to get something out of him. I know last season when Salah went to AFCON, and we were scoring goals, like we didn't miss him. You know, Jota, Nunes, and Diaz. You know, they were getting some goals in, and Gakpo's, you know, coming in with an odd 1 or 2. But I think again this season, Salah's shown like why he's the main man, and it's all, you know. The problem is we have statisticians or we've got people behind computers trying to dictate contracts, but you can't. Sometimes you just have to watch the game and you have to use optics. And Salah, like any other team in that league, will buy Salah, and they'll give him what he wants. So, despite his age, because he's just phenomenal. He looks after himself. Um, you know, he came back from a huge injury. I think the biggest injury he's had in his career, and look at the shape he's in. He came back and he's just like top scorer. Like he's outscoring Haaland. Like no one, no one would think that would happen. You have to give him what he wants. I mean, obviously not what he wants. I mean, if he's asking for 500,000 a week, but I don't think he is. I think it's just a length of contract, like you said, and I think we could, even if you give him a 3-year extension, keep him for 2, sell him in the second one. Like, everyone's happy. We get what 10, 15, 20 million out of him in the second season. He gets a huge contract. I don't see what the issue is. You can't. It's going to cost more to replace him than giving him what he wants, and that's the same as Virgil.
Yeah, and then you give yourself some breathing room to find maybe not another Salah, but another adequate winger. And we might already have. It might be Chiesa. I'm a little nervous about his injury record and the amount of times that he's not available. But it does give you some breathing space. It also gives you, like you said, the chance to sell him instead of letting him walk, which I think would be the biggest slap in the face. There's three players that are currently up for contract that not only would continue, I think, to provide excellent resources for the team, but also provide excellent resources to sell them. And if you let them all walk, you've given yourself the biggest hole ever, because you're wasting money in both directions, I feel like. And I hope that there's a resolution soon. Obviously, we're well into January. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. It seems whatever is holding them up is a pretty big deal, because I would assume it was for the benefit of everybody. Contracts would already be signed or decisions would already be made. So there's something obviously going on in the background that we're not privy to, which definitely makes the downturn in form even worse for us, I feel like. So I do have this stat. So I don't know where you were. I know we've shown this in multiple shows. I believe he started this season below it. What was he, 10th or 11th? And we kind of predicted, like, where would you be at the end of the season? And I said, if he makes it between Lampard and Aguero, it's a great season. We've had a great season. And I know that there was talk about, even catching Cole up there, and somebody was like, if he catches Cole, we win the Premier League. So we've got a little bit of a blip. He's got 31 goal involvement so far. Do you think, does it change his recent form in the last 2 weeks? Do you think it changes where you feel like he stops at the end of the year? Or do you think you've got a new decision?
No, I still think I think he finishes above Cole end of the season. I mean, he goes missing in games for sure, but like you say, we said, like, he's just one of the players. He just come out with a goal from nowhere. I mean, even if it's a penalty or whatever. But no, I think he finishes third, and by the end of the season, I think he'll be third in that list. Regardless of form. But like I said, he definitely needs a break. I don't think he thinks he needs a break, because you see him, like, he just posted himself on Instagram, like, with like 2% body fat and so forth. I mean, he's starting to get frustrated with the players. I think he's getting frustrated that we're conceding goals in tight games. He's like, I've done my part. Like, you guys need to stop conceding. So I think mentally he's getting frustrated, but he's getting marked out of games as well. And like goalkeepers, they play the best games, say the best games for us. These left backs are now saving the best games for Salah. So we've got to find something else. But he's got enough experience to know, and I think, as much as he says he wants to win it for Liverpool and everything else, he knows what he wants. Them stats go through his head every game. I think he knows before every game. Like, if he scores in the next game, he's above Henry. And that's another legend of the game, and he knows all this. So Now, if he really thinks that this is going to be his last season, I think he's going to go out and get as far as he can go.
Well, yeah, because it's not a want of it's not like when Trent has a bad game. When Trent has a bad game, it's like he was walking. He looks disinterested. Yeah. He can still string a phenomenal pass 1 out of every 10 times. But it's the effort. Whereas like you don't see that with Mo. Mo like gives like yesterday was giving effort. Yeah. He ran into a lot of cul-de-sacs, probably made a bad decision with a pass. But he got off 3 or 4 good shots, 2 of which required phenomenal, like one a goal line clearance and one a really good save. So he didn't stop trying, and he also like at one point moved into the central position to try and start taking shots from the left side. Twice he came in from a centralized position. Now it was after like it was was a free kick, and I think the other 2 were corner kicks. But he was like actively looking to make an impact. It wasn't like he was trying to hide from games. And I think the run of form, just with everything, it's so much of luck. You get one lucky bounce, it goes in, and then you're off to the races again. He's getting 5 and 5 the next time we see him with goal contributions as well. So I'm not super worried about him, but I think you're right. I think we at this point there's nobody there that gives him a break, and I think that's really what he needs. Which is why I think that recalling players, because you've got a couple of players that can do a job for you out on that right side to give him a break if you brought in coverage for the middle. So like what we've got like with Bisic, he can come in. Harvey Elliott has done on the right. Now it hasn't been great. It's not something to be like, whoa, we might have found a new right winger, but like he'll give you 90 minutes and do a job out there on the right, which allows Salah to take a break. So I think we have options in the back. I'm still confident that it's going to be a successful season. But obviously we've both been supporting this team long enough that we've seen some very, very dark times. And it wouldn't like somebody had said, it'd be very Liverpool if we do bottle it. It'd be one of those things that would be like, out of everyone in the league, it would be us to be right on the doorstep of glory and just give it away. But you had mentioned something, and I kind of agree with you that if we were to do the same form with points for the second half of the season, you're looking at 40, 43, 44 points, which I think gives you the title. Regardless of what anybody else does, that would be Arsenal. I'm pretty sure the math works out that Arsenal would have to win every single game, and they play us once. And I don't think they're beating us with their current form, even in our current little dip here. And I think the dip is just, we've been run out of gas. I mean, I think there was a stat yesterday that Liverpool were playing their 31st game and Forest was playing their 24th. So like even though that we had a game more or a game less than them in the league, we played more games than them by a significant amount. And so I think that definitely factors into it as well. But I still think that our form currently is better than Arsenal's, and I'd put us winning that game. And so knowing that and saying like, Forrest played really well, I think they definitely have the tools to still be there at the end of the year. But history tells me that they're going to fall off. Now, top 4 is still very, very close for them. It's still a big reality, especially after performance yesterday. They continue that up for 18 games. I mean, they're going to be in the mix at the end of the year. That would be a big ask, in my opinion, without being too disrespectful to our Nottingham Forest fan here in the chat. I think it'd be a big ask for them to continue this form for 17 more games for them. So Arsenal, right at this point, would be our closest contender. And I don't know. I don't see them finishing the season out with 18 more wins. I mean, which tells me that we don't need the same kind of form. Now, obviously, like you said, the more points you drop, the hungrier everyone behind you gets, because the target's now on our back, and so every little point we drop is extra ammunition for the teams behind us. But realistically, going back to the question that started all this off, how many points do you think we need to win the season?
I think we're probably 15 games away from winning the league. So what's that? 45 points away. And I think that's ours. I do disagree with the Forest thing. I think even though the Forest players looked jaded last night, after, in that 90 minutes, no one attacks them the way we do. And you look at Arsenal. I don't know what it is with Arsenal. They're just a completely different team. I think Arteta is in his own head, and they just they'd rather just not lose games, and they're scared to attack. And now they have no attackers. Jesus is out. Havertz Havertz makes Nunes look like the real Ronaldo. So and that's So I think Forest, they really probably will end up finishing second. Just they've got no. They're not in Europe. Obviously, they don't have a League Cup game to play in. If they don't take the FA Cup seriously, if they put all their eggs in one basket and put them in, I think they'll end up second. I think Arsenal are just too self-destructive to mount to come above Forest. I mean, they might obviously win today, and that's just because they're playing Spurs, and you just don't know what Spurs team you're going to get. But if Forest play the way they played against us for the rest of the season, and they're not going to come up against the likes of the amount of chances we had against them, I think they can do it. They're so disciplined. They haven't, we were the first team to score against them in the last 5 games, and we only scored 1. So, it's, they definitely want us a surprise team, and I think they will end up second. But I think we're about 15 games away from the title being ours, I think.
So with that, this will be the last question because I know you got to run here. But with that, if that finishes that way, right? Forest finish second, we win the league. Does that worry you for the summer? Let's say the worst case scenario: Trent, Verge, Mo all walk for free. We win the league, and Nottingham Forest finish second. Obviously, now we don't know what happens to City. There's some rumors going around that there will be dock points, which means that they're not going to be, even without the docking points, I don't think they're a challenge this year. But Arsenal obviously would strengthen. Chelsea, after the little dip that they're having, they probably strengthen again. Obviously they do because they've got so much money. They're going to continue to do what they always do in the summer. Does it give the back office a false sense of security over the summer of like, maybe we don't need to strengthen this squad too much? Like, does that worry you for the future? I mean, that's kind of, I guess, hypothetical. The worst would have to happen there, but I don't know. That would be.
It worries me because we've been in this rodeo before, and we don't strengthen from a position of strength. When we won the Champions League, the only player we added then was, I think it was Elliot. Mm-hmm. And when we won the league, we didn't buy anyone. We let Lovren go, and then I think obviously, but we bought Thiago and Jota, but we don't strengthen. For some reason, we don't strengthen where we know we need to strengthen.
Yeah,
and it's just like Edward's just like he likes to play these mind games. I don't know whether he thinks, well, everyone else is seeing that we need to strengthen this, so they're gonna add some more, add some more value onto their players. But all you're doing is just like, when we won the league, we should have gone on for complete domination. We were just like maybe a defender or two, or a midfielder or two, a midfielder or a defender away from complete dominance, and we just let it go. And then now, we have to start again and rebuild again, and it's just like we can't keep doing that. Mm-hmm. I think we have, as much as we love Edwards the first time he was here, I really haven't seen anything from him or Hughes to inspire me with any confidence, even if we win the quad this season. And it's just going to be like, what do we do,
Yep.
And I think even if we win the league this season, the other one that we need to tie down is Slot, because everyone's going to come after him.
Yep, that's for sure.
And we did that with Bergen, with Klopp. After the first season, we extended his contract to 6 years, and you had people like Haman say, why are you giving him? He hasn't won anything. You're extending his contract, but they saw quality in Klopp. And I think they're going to see quality in Slot, and if Slot keeps talking about not needing new players, I think it's going to be detrimental to us as well.
Yeah, so a lot to think about, a lot to digest. Obviously, it's still wrapping the Discord. If you're not involved in that, please definitely get involved in our Discord. Follow us on all the social media sites, and for all the content, we're on YouTube. We post a whole lot of stuff on Instagram as well. So please follow, like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up here. Serzi, thank you for your time. I appreciate you hopping in and saving me here.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
no one wants to just see my ugly mug. So we'll let everyone get back to their Wednesday mornings, and everyone stay safe. And if you're anywhere in the Midwest, bundle up. Definitely. It's freezing out there. So thanks again. We'll see you.
Thank you, guys.